It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. We bring you the biggest guests, great analysis, and the hottest sports stories in the nation's capital and beyond. And we bring it to you live. Welcome to this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome in to Listen In with KNN. I see you Eagles fans going crazy already, but as you all can see, Kelsey Nicole Nelson joined by a very special guest here. We're welcoming him back home, all right? The DMV area, he knows very well, but he is none other than Brian Westbrook. So many titles that I could give him. Eagles Hall of Famer, of course, legendary. I'm going to say legendary. Eagles running back, and he's done so much. But more importantly, he's here back at home, Bowie State University, starting a data science camp, which I'm so excited about. It's going to be free, which I think is huge. And we were just here for the past 2 hours introducing the camp. So Brian Westbrook, first off, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super happy to be here and love talking about the camp, but also love being on your show.
I appreciate it. Me and Brian are Twitter friends that are now real life friends, but also the Maryland Connect. All right. So, Maryland people are good people. DMV people are good people, but excited to talk with Brian. Save your sports questions for later because I want to talk with first Brian about his camp and, of course, the Brian Westbrook Foundation I also want to talk about. So let's start there. The Brian Westbrook Foundation. Obviously, you played football for a long time, right? But the giving back aspect seems like it's also near and dear to your heart. What made you start the foundation, and what makes you most proud today of where the foundation has landed?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, the reason why we started the foundation, my wife and I, is because we wanted to help give back to our youth. This area, this DMV area, is so important to us. It was able to help raise me, my brother, and my family, my friends, and so we wanted to make sure that this area is empowered, that they understand that they have people that are in their corner, but they also want to make sure that they have access to the technology, they have access to the opportunities that so many other communities have. And because of that, that's the reason why we started the foundation.
Yeah, and the foundation has obviously grown. I'm glad to now be connected to it. And now, again, we're here. If you guys see this background, we're in Bowie State, all right? The School of Business. This is the classroom. Me and Brian, I guess, are going back to school. You can say, remembering what it feels like, right, to sit in these college seats. But nonetheless, had a great turnout. But talk about what made today so important for you. Why are you so excited to bring this data science camp? From what I heard today, especially someone who does broadcasting, Brian, I rely on analytics so much, right, when I'm doing game broadcasts. I need those stats. Sports fans need those stats, such as we're watching the NBA playoffs right now, right? We're looking at what James Harden is shooting now. Some fans aren't the happiest about that now, right? So let's break down why athletics, data science, why is that so important? And why was it important for you to be involved in this cause?
Well, really what I saw was a big hole, a big gap. And what the gap is that, and especially in sports, they used to hire old football coaches, old football players that just continue to coach over and over and over. Then what we've seen over the last 5-6 years is a shift between them not hiring old coaches anymore, which were old players, which look like us.
Right.
Now they're hiring guys from MIT and girls from Harvard and and people from Yale, which is cool, no problem there. But a lot of those students don't come from the underrepresented community, and so we wanted to make sure that our students understood that there is a path through data for you to be successful. There are so many employers that are looking for people that understand data, that can analyze data, and we want to fulfill that funnel. We want to put our people that look like us, underdeserving, underrepresented, minority children, high schoolers that look like us. We want to put them in that funnel to make sure that they're able to access these jobs. And listen, there's a bunch of opportunities. We heard a lot about them
I learned a lot tonight, Brian.
and everything has data involved with it, almost every job. And so we want to clear that pathway and show that pathway to our young people.
And, I'm just going to hit the elephant in the room. Many kids out there, many people out there, like data sometimes scares them because they're thinking of math. Brian, math isn't everyone's favorite subject,
Yeah.
right? So how do we kind of make data science sound cool to the young people, to the kids to want to get involved?
Well, see, it's not about math. You don't have to be a great mathematician. You don't have to be this great scientist or anything like that. This is just about understanding, reading and understanding the data. Can you tell that on fourth down, we've achieved the first down on 1 out of 10? If you can tell that, then that's understanding the data. We talked about machine learning today. We talked about what Amazon does. There are so many opportunities out there that we need to be able to access. We want to open that door wide enough that all of the people of color, our BIPOC community, is able to access those information.
Yeah, when we talk about BIPOC community being involved in this, we heard the numbers. There's not enough of us now in data science, but we're playing these sports, and these data analysts, you could say, I guess they're making money off of it. So why shouldn't we be involved? And the fact that you're opening this to underrepresented communities, so people that look like me and you can be involved in this, I really do think is a huge opportunity, but specifically to kids in the DMV area, right? Your hometown. What would you want to say to them to get involved?
I want to tell them that there's opportunities for you. There's jobs. Everyone's looking for jobs. Everyone's looking for the next thing that they want to do. There are so many opportunities out there for you. Just waiting. We just have to be able to find that pathway. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to show the different pathways that you can be successful in life. And that's what it's all about, being successful in life. It's not about, you doing all these other different things. We just want to show you the pathways so you can be successful. And we've been able to do that so far.
Which is awesome. All right. So I'm going to take you back to school, back in classes at Villanova, Brian.
Yes.
All right.
Long ago.
Look, not that long ago. Brian Westbrook is still young. But if you could go back in time, would you be taking those data science classes, knowing what you know now?
I would. And you know what? I took MIS classes, Management Information Systems. So that really was data science, but it was back in the day. And so, yes, I absolutely would, because you can apply data science and data analytics to any job. Every job that you're in, if you want to start your own business, you need to understand the numbers.
It's true.
If you want to be a part of a business, you want to be in sales, you have to understand the numbers. So many different things. You have to be able to analyze the data and understand the numbers. And if you can do that, then you have a job opportunity across this country at any time.
You guys heard what he just said, a job opportunity across this country at any time. And taking it back to sports, I'll stay with the local team. The Baltimore Ravens are a team that are known to use analytics, sometimes not to the delight of Ravens fans, especially on those fourth downs when Coach Harbaugh decides to go for it. But, those decisions are huge, because as we're seeing, coaches are looking at the analytics and seeing, how to make these game time decisions. So for you as a football player, seeing the game kind of evolve, it sounds like you're a fan of sports technology, right? And kind of making these decisions based off the numbers.
Well, I'm a fan of technology. I mean, we all have these little things here. We all have computers. We all have everything. Then we're all involved in technology, whether we like it or not. We're all involved. I just think now is an opportunity for us as minorities to be involved in the money-making part of the technology. We want to be able to open the door so that we, as underrepresented communities, have the ability to go make some money in these fields. That's what we want to do. That's what we're talking about. And I know
we like money.
Learning is great, and I want people to learn, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to teach. But in the end game is to be able to find a job, start your own job, start your own business, all those different types of things as well.
Yeah, that's huge. And, let's talk about you. So going from the football field to now being you guys hear Brian Westbrook talking. This is a true businessman, right? You're a foundation owner. Talk about that transition for you, going from life off the football field to now being really well educated in business, to now being able to educate others in this field.
So I played NFL for 9 years. Then in 2011, I retired.
Right.
And so, now you have to find what you're going to do next. And really for the next 10 years, up until last year, I was doing TV and radio.
Right.
Now I'm still doing a little bit of TV and radio, not as much, but the last 6 years, I've been focused on business, being able to find opportunities for myself, but also other people. And I've seen how technology has been used throughout these last 5-6 years, probably more than that, to provide opportunities and jobs. And so for me, what we're doing now is our company Underdog. We're here to help jumpstart startup companies. And really, we've committed ourselves that 66% of our startups that we're going to help will be female-led or minority-led companies. And so now we're using the data to find these companies. We're trying to see if these companies fit, if we can help them. And we build services around those startups to help them: digital services, technology services, advisory services, all those different things, partnership and branding, to make people successful, to make our people successful. That's our goal.
Yeah, to make our people successful. I think that's huge because especially growing up in PG County, we see Black excellence a lot. I went to University of Maryland, right? I saw a lot of Black excellence. Like you said, to make our people successful, we don't want that to just be in PG County, right? We want Black folks around the country, right, around the world, to kind of have that access. And the fact that you're doing that, I mean, just kudos to Brian. You see all the love that you're getting. Lots of Eagles fans.
Well, I love the Eagles. I love the Eagles fans. I mean, they're the best fans in the world. I know we're here in Maryland, and I know we're near Washington, but the Eagles fans, we all know we're the best fans in the world. And I do want to let you guys know the Eagles football team is building for that next Super Bowl. We're building for that next Super Bowl. So I just wanted to put that out there as well.
We'll get to some of these Eagles questions because everyone's complimenting you. A great guest. So I want to start right now with the DC team. First off, shame on you, Brian, for not playing for the local team. I'm kidding.
My brother did. My brother played for the
so the parents still got something. All right. But let's go to the Eagles. I absolutely do love Eagles Nation. Let's talk about the recent NFL draft. How did you think that the Eagles fared? Are you liking what you're seeing? And you talked about a championship. So Jalen Hurts and the crew that he has around him, do you think it's coming in the next couple of years?
Well, I love what the Eagles did. They got Jordan Davis, a big D tackle from Georgia in the first round. I mean, absolutely star. I mean, 6'6", 350, 75, whatever those pounds are. Big kid. Most importantly, they were able to get some weapons for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, you got to have somebody to throw to,
they were able to trade for AJ Brown, which obviously is a huge thing for him. Then you go into the third round, you get into Kobe Dean. I mean, you get Cam Jurgens. So they have some players. They're fulfilling the roster. And really, the Eagles are at a point now where, which is the point that you want to be, that you're not going into the draft and saying, I need this position or I need that position. They're saying, hey, we're going to take the best person available so that they can find the right guy, the best player that they can find. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, the best player that they can find. All right, switching over to our DC team here, the Washington Commanders. First off, you're from the area. Do you like the name Brian Westbrook?
I was not a fan of the Commanders.
At least you're honest.
I kind of felt this. It felt arena football-ish, right? So I mean, it's one of those things that it's been the same name for my entire 42 years. So it's one of those things that's going to have to grow on you a little bit. But I was not a fan initially, of course.
So Brian Westbrook could pick the name of the DC team, right? The area he grew up in. What would Brian Westbrook be picking for the DC team's name?
I had to think about that. I used to have some good names. I'm not even sure at this point.
Not even sure. No, completely fine to hear that. But let's talk about the NFC East, right? We know they've kind of been the laughing stock of the league. We know the Cowboys kind of had a chance to surpass that. Cowboys fans, I'm sorry, you all fell short as well. But
as usual.
As usual. But we know the Giants have made some moves. A lot of people liking what the Giants did in the draft. A lot of people loving what Philly did in the draft. And by the way, I love seeing Philly fans happy. So that made me happy. But the Commanders fans are talking too about the new general in town, right? That we have in Carson Wentz. Do you think Carson Wentz is enough to get the job done for Washington to maybe get back to being NFC East division champions with your Eagles bias aside?
Yeah, well, Carson is going to have to change. Now, 3 teams in the last 3 years, he has to be much better than he was last year or the year before. Really, over the last 3 years, he has struggled in certain situations. And so he has to be much better. If he's much better mentally, and I'm talking about as far as getting the team together around him, he has all the tools. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he can throw the ball a country mile. He can do all those great things, but then it comes down to a mental side. Then it comes to the side of being a great teammate. Those are the things that he has to work on. And if he does, then I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, and I want to touch with you real quick on the mental side of football, right? Especially now in the social media age. Brian, these guys go on social media, see all types of things said about them, right? So as a football player, what would your advice be to these guys to be able to kind of block out, zone out the noise, and just focus on the game at hand?
Well, I mean, I was playing in the day where social media was still going on, but we didn't really pay as much attention to it. And so it's easy for me to say, hey, just to stay off the social media. Don't, They used to tell us that about the newspapers, and we still read them. But, I believe you just can't take these things personal. You see your game as a player, you're always going to be your hardest critic.
Of course.
And so if you're going to social media and they're saying things that you haven't heard before, then you're not doing your job, right? So your job is to be your hardest and toughest critic. And if you do that, you'll be successful no matter what anyone else says.
I like that. You'll be successful no matter what anybody else says. Let's do a fun one. Who's your favorite running back right now in football?
My favorite running back. For the Washington fans, I'll say Gibson, but he's not actually my favorite. I mean, there are so many talented guys. I think Alvin Kamara is probably my favorite. I mean, talking about a guy that can do it all, and the way he does it with speed. He's smooth. I just love what he's able to bring to football.
He's great. What about a running back that reminds you of you during your playing days?
Well, really, Alvin does. I mean, he catches the ball well out of the backfield. I certainly was not nearly as fast as he was, that he is, but he's able to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's able to run as well. Austin Eckler, same type of thing out there for the Chargers.
Yeah.
I'm able to be a dual threat in and out of the backfield. Christian McCaffrey, when he's healthy, same type of thing. All three of those running backs are able to be dual threats, and that's what the NFL needs.
That's what it is now. Yeah, and as we talk about threats, we had a lot of movement this past year in the National Football League. Lots of quarterback moves, wide receivers moving everywhere. What was the biggest surprise move to you?
I was shocked that Tyreek Hill left the Chiefs and went to Miami. You know, I love Patrick Mahomes and I love Andy Reid because he coached me. It was surprising that they separated the two. You know, that they were able to take Patrick Mahomes' biggest and best weapon, Tyreek Hill, away from that. That surprised me, especially coming from Andy Reid.
Completely agree. He's going to be a big piece, I think, for them to fulfill. All right, I'll go to a couple fan questions. People, we can't keep Brian all night, all right? He's got to go home. He's got a great farm here in the area. But let's go to a diehard Eagles fan. He wants to know, do you like Miles Sanders?
I do. I think Miles Sanders is a talented running back. There are some things that he has to work on. He has to remain healthy. That's number one, which is it's just hard for running backs in this league now. You see how big these defensive linemen and linebackers are, how fast they are. But he has to remain healthy. The other thing that I think Miles can work on is his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. In the NFL, today's NFL, you have to be a dual threat. You have to be able to run and catch the ball out of the backfield. And I think Miles has the ability to do that. They need to see a little bit more of that from him.
All right. We're going to another fan question because they just keep bringing them up. All right, so let's do this one. Brian, which opponent was the hardest to play against? Ooh, and your least favorite NFL stadium to play at? Two-part question.
So the hardest to play is really two. We didn't play one. So the Raiders were always tough. They always had the biggest dudes. I mean, everybody on the team was 6'6", 250. So they were always tough. And when you go to Oakland, the crazy people there, the black hole, that was real.
They're serious.
The other team, we didn't play either of these teams. They were in the AFC a bunch, but we would play Pittsburgh in the preseason. And I don't know what weight room that they went to, but everyone there was jacked, and they were some big physical tough dudes in Pittsburgh. So they were always a tough team.
All right, and least favorite NFL stadium to play at?
Least favorite stadium. In Dallas. I mean, I played in both of their stadiums, the new one and the old one. I don't like going to Dallas. I hate the Cowboys. So that's probably the biggest.
It's only right.
The biggest part. Yeah.
What's the biggest misconception you'd say about Philadelphia Eagles fans?
That I don't know. I think people think we're bullies, and I think people think we're always negative. The Eagles fans are passionate fans. I love them. I love what they were able to do for my career. Obviously, always pushing me forward. But I think that some people, they don't see it that way, especially the opposing team. They never see it that way.
Of course. It's very hard to see. And, going back to an incident that happened recently, you saw, when the stands fell, right, at the Washington team's FedEx Field. Jalen Hurts, I wanted to give him a special props for what he did, I thought, with the fans, like helping them get up.
That's right.
Staying to take selfies with them. I think that's just a class act.
That tells you a lot about a young man.
It does.
When he's able to do that, when he's able to, with all that going around, being the starting quarterback of the NFL game, he's able to stop, take his time, and speak to the fans, especially after an incident like that.
It was huge. So Jalen Hurts giving you your flowers. I always believe in giving people their flowers when they are due. All right, take a couple more fan questions. Everybody loves you, Brian, still. Okay, your first day in an NFL locker room as a rookie. What were your feelings like?
It was tough because it was an intimidating feeling. I went to Villanova, and so we didn't play against many of these guys. So it's like when you play against each other in college, and you get drafted, you're usually kind of friends.
You know each other, right?
So Villanova was different. I didn't have any friends there. It was just go work and find your place. And so for me, it was just about going out there, work as hard as you can, figure things out. And if you can do that, then you'll be successful. And really, I just put my head down, focused on work.
Focused on work. All right, Brian, one more question for you. So, of course, recently the NFL family is mourning the loss of one of our fallen soldiers, Dwayne Haskins, a guy that has roots in this area. But, kind of surrounding that, there's a lot of controversy about the way that, unfortunately, his death news was kind of released to the world. And we saw a lot of athletes actually speak up and speak out, saying, remember that these guys are human. So just wanted to get your thoughts, on how media, how fans, how we can all be better at making sure that we respect athletes, right? Not only as the athletes on the field, but as human beings.
Yeah, I think it's, because you're on TV, because you get paid, people don't look at you as a human. They don't view you as, hey, when I leave the field, I go home to my wife or my kids or things like that. They don't look at it that way. And it's unfortunate because they look at you as solely as entertainers, but we still have families and stuff too. So I tell people it's simple. just be respectful.
Right.
If you're respectful, then the respect always comes back. If you're disrespectful, then people generally handle it in a different way. And so be respectful. Speak about people. Same thing I would tell my kids. What's the golden rule? Treat people the same way that you want to be treated.
Right.
And those commentators that made those comments, when someone passes away, especially in the accidental fashion as Dwayne, judging their character, judging their past, that's not the time or place to do that. This is about mourning. This is about respecting that person, giving that person the opportunity to rest in peace. That's what that's about. It's not the time for any of the other stuff.
Yes, and I appreciate you touching on that. Obviously, as a former player, you obviously know that locker room, and I think that's what a lot of people were feeling like. All right, guys, 2 more. I have to let Brian go home. He's been here all day. Another Eagles fan really quickly wants to know, is Nick the guy long-term for the Eagles as head coach?
I think Nick did a really good job last year. First time coach, first time head coach in the NFL. I think he did a really good job. He held the team together. I mean, so many people thought this was going to be a team that was a 6-win football team. I think they ended up winning 9 or 10 games.
Yeah, they surprised
it was impressive what he was able to do, especially with Jalen Hurts, a second-year quarterback. So I think he was able to get as much as he could from his football team.
Yeah, which is great. All right, last fun one. You're from the DMV area. What's the best food to eat in the DMV for folks coming in? What's the staple food for Brian Westbrook when he comes back, when he comes home?
Crabs. Maryland is crabs.
There we go.
You got to have blue crabs while you're here in Maryland.
There we go.
I'm looking forward to getting some tomorrow.
So he's going to have his crabs, crab cakes and football. That's
right.
what Maryland does. See, Brian Westbrook knows that. Brian, thank you so much for joining. You all tweet him. All right. I know you guys have a lot more questions. I appreciate his time. We're going to have him back as a guest. So make sure we have the lights and the action. But Brian is doing amazing things. And before I let you go, where can people find out more about this wonderful camp that you're doing at Bowie State University?
The camp is going to be great. It's a data analytics camp. It's about sports. We also have an agricultural data analytics camp as well. You can go to information at brianwestbrookfoundation.com or datasteamcamp.org. We have all the information for you. Any questions that you have, we can set you up. We have a limited amount of spaces here for this sports data camp. We want all high schoolers to understand this is a great opportunity. You don't have to necessarily go into this field, but again, broadening and expanding your horizon is the thing that we're trying to do.
All right, you guys just heard from Brian Westbrook. I love this question, though. How was Kelsey Nicole Nelson?
Oh, she was amazing. On time, stayed, paid attention, was taking notes. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you, Brian, for joining me. And thank you, Daryl, for that question. I appreciate that. See, I have the best fans in the entire world. Again, Brian Westbrook, Eagles fans, here you go. I'll do it one time. Let's do the Eagles chant for them one time, Brian. Have you done it in a while?
I have, but I would love to hear you do it. I think this
I was going to do it with you.
It's better from you.
All right. I'm going to get in trouble for this one because I am from Maryland and worked for the Commanders.
All
right. Brian, you got to do it with me.
Okay.
We got to do it together. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ready?
EAGLES.
Eagles.
So you got to say it like you want it, like you mean it. Next time. We'll practice.
I'm going to practice that. All right, folks. I'm not from Philadelphia, so give us a little grace. But once again, Brian Westbrook, check out the camp. He's doing wonderful, wonderful. Oh, look, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry, DC, but I still love you. All right, I still love you. Brian Westbrook, again, check him out. Check out the camp. If you have kids, please, free camp. Get them into these jobs. There's so many jobs, and we need more people of color in them. Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Listen In with KNN on Fox Sports Radio now offers official Kelsey Nicole Nelson apparel in a variety of styles for men and women. Fashionable shirts, leggings, hats, jackets, and more. Order now and get 15% off and free shipping. Just enter promo code KNN. Get your Listen In with KNN wearables today. And check out Listen In with KNN on Fox Sports Radio with Kelsey Nicole Nelson.